Well, good morning. Got my coffee here. Yeah, I have a lot of coffee makers. I'm going to show you real quick and then we'll get to the word. I got my percolator. I've got my espresso. I have a single coffee maker. I think it's showing. Well, anyways. And then, ta-da-ta-da! This was my uncle's. He would say something silly. He did that in my grand's voice. And then, of course, we got the percolator. Now, I wanted to get into the word here because I was thinking of something that happened when I was growing up. You know, it all seems so hard and rough and everything. But the funny thing is, because we had to dig into the Bible to find our source of happiness, our affirmation. I didn't have too many heroes because I didn't trust or believe in fluff. I didn't believe in half of that stuff. New Age movement was just making a start in little things when I was a boy, but I didn't buy into it because I was digging into this Bible. I'm going to read it to you. Zephaniah 3:17. The Lord your God in your midst, the mighty one, will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Who does that? A mother. A mother sings over a child with gladness and joy. And that child hasn't really done anything. He didn't have that PhD. He didn't restore the roof. He didn't fix the engine in your car. That kid didn't do anything. He can't do anything yet. And we can't do anything to impress the Father except for the gifts that he gives us. Things he's given us that he uses. He's from start to finish because he's the Alpha and the Omega. He puts everything in us. So I never really had too many heroes as such. I liked Theodore Roosevelt in history because he accomplished so much. That was it when I was a boy. I think the one hero. But I didn't have too many. But I remember these two pastors, translators. They translated the Bible into African languages. There was like 18 languages. They were really brilliant. But they translated it into all these languages. And they did this. They went overseas. And I really like these people. And we visit with them. And yet, there was a book that came out. This has been the 90s. There's a book that came out, and it was called Embraced by the Light. I never read it. I read the back cover. And I flipped through a few pages. But I never saw Jesus in there. And everything about the book felt wrong. But they were saying, you need to read this book. You need to read this book. Ugh. No. Fluff. I don't like fluff. People will fail you. And that was a lie. That's even worse. But we can't find our source in anything outside of Jesus or the Father, the Holy Father, God the Father, because he came into this world in a human suit. That's something one of the Watchmen calls out there. This body, he lived for 33, maybe 33 and a half years, died on that cross, brutally tortured, died on the cross, shed his precious blood to atone, to redeem us. He used a story of a man buying a field. Now, he purchased that field at a great price because there was a pearl in it. We are the treasure in the field. So you can find that affirmation. He's rejoicing over you with singing. He's got a place for you in heaven that will blow your mind. For the child of God. It's not, but that's not it. He loves you so much. The most important thing is how much he loves you. We can't find our source in the things we own, or everything in this life is going to fail you sooner or later. It tarnishes, the people tarnish. We fail each other. We screw up. We're human. So terribly human. But there's so many things in the scriptures. I had to hold on. I had to hold on to keep it was my lighthouse. Jesus Christ was my lighthouse in the storms of my life when I was a young man, a young boy, a child, for everything that my mother went through. But I wanted to tell you something about Mom. She could cook so good, and she sure didn't get it from her mom. But she could make these beautiful, wonderful green bell peppers stuffed with the rice and the tomato sauce and rice, tomato sauce, hamburger, different spices. And it was so good. And then there was these pie crust cookies, just rolled a little lightly with cinnamon. And there were so many good times too, in spite of everything. And she had so much love and compassion for the handicapped. So God does put his treasures in broken vessels, crackpots, and that's all right. And she loved a Christian comedian that said that. But God did. He used her. I remember people coming up to her and saying, "What a wonderful, I love you, Carol. You're a wonderful woman." So he can use you too. It doesn't matter where you've been. God is the source, not the people, not your past. He can use you. He rejoices over you. You haven't accomplished anything yet, maybe, but that's all right. He can use you. God bless.